It's 2 steps every time you turn around.
Well, yeah, on mine, the little pop-up did not obscure the view and everything. It was, situated a bit next to the view. It
Do you
may
have a big
depend on
screen?
this. May depend, yeah, it may depend on the size of your screen.
Yeah. I've only got a 16.
I think I went to 22, so.
Okay, it might make the difference. The real estate.
Well, it's just 8:31 and we're already up to 22 participants.
Woohoo! Oh, look at that pretty rainbow. That's pretty,
actually
Alice.
San Diego. That's the San Diego skyline from Coronado.
Did they Photoshop it to add the rainbow?
No, it was there. It's really neat. I think it was KSI had put it on, or somebody, somebody had sent it in just a couple of weeks ago.
It's pretty. It's pretty.
I don't know. It looks like Alice has got a halo now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's why it's good. I can pretend anyway.
Sister Alice.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We're probably
Back to the okay thing.
We'll probably get some rainbows today with all the rain.
What'd you say, Miriam?
I said, going back to the message and the okay, I was upset that the okay was so far away from the message. But if I look at my screen very carefully, I will see that the message is enclosed by a lighter black thing, and it goes all the way down to the okay. And I think it either ends there or after the leave meeting. But there is a little thing surrounding both. Nobody else sees it, huh?
Might be your screen size. Who knows?
Well, mine's pretty small. I'm on a 16 or 17 inch.
Yeah, I'm on a
laptop.
16.
Yeah.
So Pat H has her virtual hand up.
What's up, Pat?
Hi, I got a new phone, and for some reason or other, you're not coming up. What is the your ID number, I guess? I think I got the password, but I don't have the ID. For some reason, it's not working on the phone.
You mean you need the meeting ID?
Yes.
882. 1849 5746.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Couldn't read my writing. All right. Thank you. And the password is that 074945.
That sounds like it. I left the page already. Too quick.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Let me try again.
Sure.
And where's Will Wakely this morning? There he is.
All right.
Where is
Will, I see 24 now participants, which is more than I think we've ever had.
I think that's right.
And
I think we had 25 once.
I see one name I don't recognize, Jane Shartle. Do you see another name you don't recognize?
How about Elizabeth Smith?
Yeah.
I have attended many times.
Very good.
I'm not new.
I'll vouch for that.
Thank you. Thank you. My accent is my lifesaver.
I was going to tell Pat, if she wants to get the meeting link, since you're in the meeting, you can go up to the check mark and it will has a little a link inside there that says copy link. You can copy that. You could copy that and just paste it into a text editor or something.
I don't know if that shows up on her phone if she's on a phone.
Oh.
I got this new phone, and apparently it lost all of my IDs and everything. I thought that would have been in there, but it's not.
And Jane, how did you find us?
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Could you repeat your question, Hank?
Jane Shartle?
Hi.
How did you find us?
I've been getting your links. I've attended many times before.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. What?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I get your links on my email. I've attended several times before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jane, sometimes you have to realize, being the seniors group, we don't always remember things.
Math, me too.
All right, Don, it is 8:36 and I'm going to mute all, which will include you. You need to unmute yourself and then you can start.
Okay, I just unmuted.
He's muted.
It keeps flip-flopping back and forth. I hope it'll stay unmuted. I think it's okay now.
We got it.
Okay, so anyway, I've noticed that there's a lot of hesitancy about using some smartphone kinds of things, and we usually dwell on problems instead of training or education. And I also know that we have two or three, four people here that are very good teachers that actually teach classes and all this kind of stuff, which is great. So I'm making this a little change, and I don't really ever hear any humor involved in the thing very much. So I was wanted to tell you about a couple of friends of mine. The name's Henny Youngman. You may know who that is.
Just be aware we're all muted, so you're not going to get laughs.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You might not, that'll be typical for my telling this joke anyway. Won't be different for me. Okay, so one friend says to the other, says, I got a new Cadillac for my wife. The guy looks at him for a little bit and says, wish I could make a trade like that. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through some very basic stuff on the phones. In my case, it's an iPhone, but I know we have some experts here on Android phones, and I'm sure that hopefully there's a similar thing. So this is really my first time doing this kind of thing for you folks, so cut me a little slack here. I'm going to share my screen first. Okay, I'm going to take this one right here. I assume you can see a basic screen. It just doesn't look like much.
We can.
All right, so I got a little video here that I'm going to try to get ready. Here. Smartphones, remember, you've already paid for it. You might as well use it. Okay, hopefully you heard that.
You did.
All right, so there's one app that is available for Androids and iPhones, and I've used and I've heard discuss this kind of issue before, and it's called Open Signal. Okay, checking out a product called Open Signal. I think you might find it quite useful. To be a little application that you can download free of charge and use quite nicely. So I can get over here to find it. There's Open Signal is in this group. There's several things you can do. Down at the bottom, be sure you look at the bottom of the icons down at the bottom. The little multiple line would picture this home screen of it to do speed testing. So if you do speed testing on the network that you're on right now, and I'm on T-Mobile and I'm on my own personal network, I have them going. And this will go through and give you latency testing, which will tell you that the lowest score of latency, the better off you are. If you want to test a video, it's got a great video test here, super resolution, and it will go through and check here out for video at 720p. Let this run for just a moment. You get to see that. Then when that's finished, I'm going to take you back to the home screen again. And then I'm going to go into the second from the left on the bottom and show you the numbers. The numbers for the month, the numbers for the week, the numbers today, what you have. This will give you a little history of your speed tests that you run here, whether you're talking about your mobile test or whether you're talking about your Wi-Fi test. Then let's go to the center one, this little teardrop at the bottom. It'll give you search your locations where you're at. This shows me I'm in Kailo, Hawaii. Been here for a while, like 50 some years, and that's a great place to live, but not necessarily a great place for cell signals. So I want to find out which one is best for me where I am. So I'll click on compare performance, and it tells me that T-Mobile is better than AT&T and Verizon, or Verizon, quite a bit. If you can see the download speeds, the larger, the better off you are. Upload speeds. So that's one of the reasons why I recently switched to T-Mobile. It'll also allow you to find out where the towers are. You can tell by the little coding system of the dots. All right, which is a good thing to know. We're near sometimes. And then if you want to find out where the strongest cell signal is for you right now, you can click on the arrowhead and you can see the direction. You can point your phone in that direction and you can go that way in the room that you're at or the open area that you're at, and it'll tell you that this is your best chance to get a good signal from there. There's another little gear, which most things have, tells you your app versions and so forth, and the contributor data business to Open Signal. So I thought that might be useful for you. Hopefully it's something that'll be of good use to you.
So if you're ever wondering where your best cell signal is, and you're in an unfamiliar location or whatever, for whatever reason, you might consider Open Signal. It's free. There's another one. This is a clock, which we all have.
Why not use it? We all pay a lot of money for our smartphones, and we get a lot of value out of them, and maybe we should get more value out of them. It may be possible for you to do that. Let me show you one application that's on most every phone. If you look at the right column, right column here, excuse me, you will see on the third entry down the clock, okay, the time of day clock. Let's take a look at that. On the bottom of the clock, on the taskbar, so to speak, you have the world clock, the alarm, the stopwatch, and the timer. On the world clock on the left side, some people don't notice that it shows you time. It can show you time zones or help you with time zones. I have family spread out across the country. This tells me how many hours difference we are. Honolulu is where I am, so it's 0 hours. I've got friends in Brisbane, Australia, so it's 20 hours and tomorrow, okay? Easy way to figure the difference. And there's 2 hours between Honolulu and San Diego, because it's the same time zone as San Francisco. That helps me. Okay, let's take a look at the alarms. Alarms are pretty straightforward. You can set multiple alarms. I set this alarm that you see here for 12:30. Tell me I needed to start getting ready to make this recording. I had another alarm set for 8:30, and that's my daily alarm that reminds me it's time to take my pills. So if I'm watching TV in the evening, it will give me a little joke that I need to, do my pills at that time. Let's look at the stopwatch. If I want to do something like take a nap or something like that, I always like to sleep at least, an hour. That's the best way I like to sleep, not longer than that if I can help it. So I start this and I can pretty well predict that. And if I take a look at that while I'm dozing off, I can tell basically how far I'm through, or I can wait till it hits the hour, whatever you want, or you can count laps. Now, I'm not going to take laps of my nap, hopefully, but it does allow you as a stopwatch to do laps or multiple people or whatever you're talking about as a normal stopwatch would. But the stop will start counting the moments. Timer. I use the timer for all kinds of things. One of the things I use the timer for is cooking. Okay, it's a great timer for cooking. It's much better than any other timer I've used for cooking because you can set, it's so flexible to be able to do that. And you can set different alarms for different things. So that's a little look at timer, stopwatch, alarms, and the world clock.
Stock market stuff.
Smartphone tips. Aloha, it's Don again. Let me show you a little bit about the stock market app that comes with your phone. Remember, you paid for it already. You might as well use it. Get some more value out of what you spent. So I'm going to go over to the stock app that's part of the process on my phone. Yours too, probably. Right there it is. Second from the left. Second row on the near the top, stocks. Okay. Now I want to show these stocks that are on here and the symbols that are on here. But anyway, you can add and put together symbols that you want to follow. Boy, what a day today was. People lost their shirt. Anyway, you can put your little bit of your portfolio in or whatever you want to follow. It makes it easy to check it anywhere. But let's look at what we're doing here. Say with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we got a ticker tape scrolling across the top. You can see what's going on. Okay, and with any, like First Hawaiian Bank, Bank of Hawaii, Raytheon Technologies, I have an interest in knowing what's going on with those, IBM. And you can make it as the period of time as much as you want. Right now it's set for 2 years. If I want to go to 1 year, the graph will change to go to 1 year. If I want to go to 6 months, the graph will change for that. Then in the bottom section of it, you see open, high, low, volume, price earnings ratio, market cap, 52-week high, 52-week low, average volume, yield, beta, etc., or whatever one you're working on. IBM is going to give you another look. I'm going to look for here's period of time for IBM. See all the yield on the product. The fastest way I have ever seen to be able to find out the salient information for stocks and what's happening today and what's going on in the market. You might jump in and sell some stuff or jump in and buy some stuff, depending upon how and what you wanted to do. Have you deleted what you think you deleted? Well, we delete photos, we delete emails, but do they really disappear from our phone? Let's see if they do. Photos. Got lots of albums on here. Albums is one topic, but one of the main pieces of that is the deleted albums photo. There is actually a set of photos that are down in deleted items, as you can see right here. These items will stay on your phone forever, even though you deleted them, even very recently. If you go through here and you can actually play them from there. You can select them. Notice it's putting a little blue check beside them. You can click the 3 dots at the bottom right, and you can actually delete them. And this actually does delete it from all devices. Okay, let's get out of photos. Go over to our mailboxes and see that we can expand and contract mailboxes. And one of the advantages to that is if we've got a mailbox that contains some information in our trash folder, that's where they go. They don't get deleted off your phone. If you delete a piece of mail from Apple Mail, it goes to the trash folder. You can edit that folder, select that whole folder, then delete the entire thing. Okay, now they're actually off the phone. Let's see if I've got any more. I'm going to collapse that folder from that mailbox. Look at this mailbox. Look at the trash folder. Don't have any, so it is done over there, and it's finished deleting there. So at this point, it's time to think that maybe we have saved some space on our phones. I've started receiving a lot of junk mail on my phone, my Apple SE2 iPhone. I had to find out a way to hopefully control that junk mail. And supposedly, if you do this, Apple will assist you by, at some point, blanking out or blocking particular senders of junk mail. So let's go through and show you how it works. Press the home button. Press the home button again. I just want to get back to my main screen. This is my home page, similar to yours possibly. Then I click on the mail icon. I'm looking at my mailboxes in Apple Mail. I want to go into all the mail, so I press this particular one. I've got a lot of mail. Here is a piece of junk mail. So what I want to do is swipe left, push on more, scroll to move to junk mail, and I'll get that moved to junk mail. Another piece of junk mail, swipe left, press more, move to junk mail. Now Apple theoretically is going to, from the website, work on dealing with these culprits that send you junk mail and waste everybody's time. You have something that is not sent by junk mail, but you want to get rid of it, you can just swipe left and this will get rid of it. Also, this one here is another junk mail. It has no business of being on my phone or probably anybody else's. And it might save you a little bit of time if you notice how this bottom of this one here has a bogus line and case ID is bogus. Well, this is another piece of junk mail using up storage. You see a little paper clip that's got an attachment to it. We don't want that. So we click on more, move it to junk mail. All right. There's another one down here, alpha heater. That's just a waste of everybody's time in the world. Press that and get rid of it. So I'm going to go back one layer here. I'm at the various mailboxes. You can look at an individual mailbox by expanding it or contracting it. I'm going to contract this one. And this is an email address, one with a BLN at the end, one with RR at the end is another host provider of email for me. I'm going to expand it. It'll show you that I've done this 104 times, and I can turn around and delete all of these and do them all at once so that I don't waste, time associated with dealing with junk mail, and I can clear them out from the other screen. You go to junk mail and you push edit. You can select all here. And if you push on delete at the bottom, they'll all go away. I'm going to work on this a little bit more, but I wanted to show you that much for right now. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this.
Okay, I need to stop sharing. Come back here to my view to allow me to do that. Well, that I'm not doing right. What's the magic to get Zoom back to allow me to stop sharing?
I just did it for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I thought maybe that might provide some information for us folks regarding the using of your smartphone. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, especially on photos, that I could make some little short snippets. But anyway, any questions or any boos from the audience or applause or whatever?
Pat has her virtual hand up.
Yeah, I just was wondering, what was the name of the testing app that you used on the very first? I didn't quite catch that.
Open Signal.
Oh, so Open Signal did the testing and the finding?
Open Signal was the first little video that allows you to find out where the strongest signal is near you. If you're having trouble with signal strength and you really need to get your cell phone going and you're down at the restaurant and you can't get anything happening, and find where your strongest signal is with Open Signal. And if you want to find out which vendor, if you use one place, if you're frustrated with at someplace you go all the time, like your house, and you're wondering why you get a bad signal, you can find out fairly quickly which carrier gives the strongest signal for your area.
Oh, okay, it does both. All right, thank you.
Sharon?
Yeah, let me go back to the right screen. Yeah, that was great, Don. Thanks. I
You're
did
welcome.
want to say that I found the open signal on the App Store in Apple.
Mhm.
They're using a longer definition. They're using open signal space, a space, internet space, speed test 4+. And it looks just like yours because it looks like that little tower. And it talks about the same kind of thing. So it's just worded a little bit differently in the App Store, in the Apple Store. I don't know where you downloaded it from. I prefer to sometimes go through the Apple Store to see if they have something to download. So thanks for the info.
Yes, I did download it from the App Store, but I probably downloaded it 2 years ago.
Got it.
I'm sure it has changed, and hopefully they're keeping up with
Yeah,
their
they just did it.
technology.
They just did an update 1 day ago.
Okay, well, you've got a newer one than I do.
No, I haven't downloaded it yet. I just,
Well,
the version
if you-
history.
But I did get, the point is I did get it from the App Store.
Great, great.
And I'm sure that Google Play has it. It says that, from what I can tell, that it's an Android version and or a iOS version of it is available.
Yeah, that's all.
I just downloaded it from Google Play and it's here on my phone.
Nice.
I'm sure there's also different ways that not all of us do use the stock market, but hey, if you do, if you got the app, and what I've noticed in the people that I have worked with is if you can get them to working on one simple thing at a time, such as the clock, okay, and they say, what I need a clock for? I got a watch on my wrist. All right, well, I do use the when I should take my pills when in the middle of 8:30 comes and I'm watching a TV show, alarm goes off, I get up, go over to the table, pop up my lids on the pill strip and go from there. I mean, then go back and watch TV again. Otherwise, I'll forget the doggone thing. And so there's uses for each one of those sections. I do have friends and people in each one of those cities, including Brisbane, Australia, and daughter that's in Houston and frequently the Cape with a rocket launch from NASA. She's big part of that, and it's nice to follow her there. And so I'd like to know. And I got another daughter who they travel a lot and will go on long drives, and I can follow them and know when the best time to call them is and so forth. So if you can get somebody to start using a simple app like the clock, that will give them more confidence in using this doggone computer that they're holding in their hand, which they call a cell phone. And then they can get to the next one. What should that be? Okay. And whatever their interest level is. If it's stocks, fine. Let them work with that for a while. A couple months of working with the stocks, their entire skill set for working with an iPhone or an Android phone will get better. Okay. A lot of us are, especially seniors, are very hesitant and get very frustrated with the doggone phones and in using them. And so we, put our head in the sand and only use one or two things. And one of the ways, at least that I have found, is that start with something simple. Okay. And find something that you might have interest in, like, so anyway, Elizabeth, can you?
Yes, I have just downloaded Open Signal for my Android phone. And my question to you or anybody else is, does it work in Europe?
I don't know.
You let us know.
Okay, thank you.
As long as you have the antenna, the service turned on for wireless or cellular, it should find it. You have different services over there, but again, you should be able to see the different services. This is just looking at what the antenna can pick up. It shouldn't matter where you are. Now, you may not be able to connect your phone to that particular service, but you should be able to see what services are there.
Thank you.
And maybe Don could look in the chat and respond to a question for him there.
Oh, okay, I will do that. Deleting items and put the, okay, so deleting items just puts the items into the trash folder. Yep. And in order to free up the space, you must then delete it from the trash folder. Yeah. Yes. Yes to both questions is the answer. And you can spend a whole lot of time deleting photos and getting them all squared away, and you haven't deleted them. They're in your trash folder. You got it. They're in the deleted item, recent deleted item, deleted portion of your photos. You click on your photos and albums and so forth and scroll down, and then in Apple's case, they decided they would make an entire folder that contained your deleted stuff and keep it on there. Now, yes, I'm incorrect. It theoretically does delete it in 30 days, one at a time as they age out of the process. But if you want to get it off your phone, just go to, the bottom folder of the bottom album down there and select the, deleted one and select them all and plus delete. Sharon?
Yeah, Don, I've just started using within the last 2 months, the Apple Health app. And that's where I put my medicines in. And the reason that it's an advantage for me is because I have to take medicines twice a day.
Great.
So it also will log it if I can see if how compliant I am. If I'm late in taking it's more than just the alarm that goes off. It's a reminder and also a tracking system for me.
Wonderful. That's a better approach than I've got. It's an example.
It's just another approach, that's all.
Well, no, this is not which is best. This is like going to a restaurant. You got a menu at the restaurant. Some people are going to order spaghetti and some people are going to order shrimp. I mean,
absolutely.
Hey, and I'll order both, shrimp scampi. So it depends. And all three of the people are right.
Yeah, and then I've started tracking like things like back pain or headaches or whatever. So this way, when I do talk to the doctor, I can go right into that health record.
Well, when I talk to the doctor, they say, "What medications do you use?" And I call up my photos folder for pills, and I say, "Here's my phone. I'm tired of writing them down." And the doctor just scrolls through and says, "Oh, yeah." And I used to go to this elaborate system of keeping track of them on text documents and everything else. I just took a picture of the pill bottles, made an album called Pills, and slid all the pictures over there and said, "Here, nurse."
That might be good for traveling too.
Oh, it's great. It's great. The number of times I've used it, a lot of times.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Hank.
This is not a criticism, Don. I think what you've done is great. I just want to point out why I am not doing almost anything that you have here on my phone. I do it all on my computer. And the main reason is that I am much more mouse capable than I am finger tap capable. Any comment?
Yes, I found out that the desktop or my laptop I got 3 big monitors here. It's a lot better at doing stuff that requires a lot of visual issues. Okay. And one of the ones that I use hand in hand with the phone and the desktop is Google Photos. I'll be glad to demonstrate a bunch of stuff on Google Photos. We had a subject last week, we were talking about that. But the easiest way to deal with Google Photos is with Google Photos on your phone and Google Photos on your computer. It's the same photos. But if you want to put a description that says, "This is a bunch of old guys called the Retired Old Men Eating Out that I think we both have lunch once a month at," and you want to do something about that, it's a lot easier on your laptop or your desktop. Now, you want to mess with that photo on your phone is a nightmare and a happening. So when the waitress takes a picture of us and they stick it on my phone, I put it in Google Photos and I say, "This was on you know, February, the second Tuesday in February, and this one's Hank, and this one's Charlie, and this one's, you know, et cetera, down the line. And then somebody asked me, well, who was that guy? I said, this one, yeah, there he is, that's what he is. And it's a lot easier than the phone. But do I not use the phone? No, the phone's a lot easier getting them to the cloud. The easiest way to get a big image to the cloud, especially a video image, that is either video or still pictures, is through Google. Google's app designed to do that. You just press the button and it'll send it all up to the cloud. And then you get on your laptop and you slide them all to the appropriate album. Okay, so I do what you do. Everybody's got their own thing that works best for them. And in my case, I've got some of the thing I'll use the laptop, the desktop, some of the thing I'll use the phone. Alice.
I have a question, Don. I downloaded the Open Signal and I did the test and it's telling me download or upload or latency. What number am I looking for? What's the download?
Well, Ross, would you chime in on that, please?
Well, download means how fast you're bringing information from the internet into your computer.
Oh, okay. Now what's a good number?
Depends on what you're paying. So whatever your internet provider is, you're paying for a certain speed. And you should have that speed in that application when you run the test. So if you're paying for 50 megabits down, that's what you should see on there. And if you don't, then you need to get in touch with that internet provider and say, how come? Now they have their own that they want you to use. So AT&T has theirs, Spectrum has theirs, and they're all pretty close to each other. But if you're not, say you're paying for 50 and you're only getting 12, then you need to investigate that. Now, a wired connection is faster than a wireless connection. So if you have a laptop and you run the numbers that you have a wire between your modem and your laptop, that should be faster than your wireless connection to your phone. And that's one of the things they'll ask about also when you call to complain, saying, how come I don't have the speed that it's advertised at? But, you know, it all depends on what your budget is and how much performance you're looking for. 20 is okay, 50 is much better, 300 is really fast. But if you're not downloading many movies or trying to watch videos online, 300 is kind of a waste for you.
I have 37.8 and I think that's fine. I have no problem with it. Then what does it mean upload?
Uploads again the other direction. So if you say you're taking pictures on your phone and you want to push them up to Google or Apple, then that's where that number comes into play.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Then what about the latency?
And that's the length of time that it takes for the other servers to respond.
Interesting. Okay.
That's more as if you're getting voice quality issues. If you're having a high latency, then you'll hear echoes and dropouts.
Okay, so if it's high, mine's pretty low, but okay, that's interesting. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Marty.
Okay, my mute thing didn't want to work. Okay, this is a dumb question, but on my phone, you know, I have Wi-Fi and I can sign on to the different networks. Well, if I'm away from my home and my router, it says no Wi-Fi. And the question, what I've been doing is going to something called data and using that, but I don't know if I have to. I mean, if I'm at Starbucks, then I use their unsecured Wi-Fi. Or at the doctor's office, they let me use unsecured their Wi-Fi, but lots of times they don't have it. And so I don't know how to use my cell phone.
Well, one of the things that's changing is with 5G services. And that's the speed of what your cell signal is being used on. And that eliminates a lot of needing to go to a Wi-Fi signal when you're out and about.
Oh, so they gave me that. So my router has a network for 5G. I just sign on to that network.
Well, no, if you're down at your doctor's office and you want to get to hold your phone, if you have a 5G phone, you probably don't need to mess with finding some Wi-Fi provider to lash up to. At least that's one thought.
You mean
Okay.
it's automatic?
No, it's not. Well, the 5G is generally automatic. Yes. When you carry your cell phone around and you look at the top left of this thing, you will see cell signal. David, you want to respond here?
Yeah, I would just think, I'm not sure that Marty is making the difference between a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi signal and the 5G phone network. Because our home routers can have Wi-Fi signal at 2.5G or 5 gigahertz. Those are two different frequencies, but they're still Wi-Fi. You're saying that if you're away from home, don't use the Wi-Fi, just use the cellular network. And if you have a 5G cellular network, then there's likely you'll have enough bandwidth to do ordinary things.
Yes.
Well, it goes, yeah, that's where it goes to when I don't have Wi-Fi, it goes to cellular and I put data and then I just put my phone as primary.
But it depends also, it depends on your billing, what you're paying for. If you have if you have unlimited data,
I
then
do.
then it's not a problem. Before, it used to be where we had to pay for data.
Right.
Trying to get onto Wi-Fi is what you always wanted to do. But now that they've pretty much gone away from that, and so it doesn't really matter. And you should be able to set it up within the cell phone to automatically move to the strongest signal.
Oh.
If cellular is stronger, then it connects with that. If your Wi-Fi is stronger, you want to connect with that. For a lot of people at home, as Don mentioned, if you have poor cell service inside your home, if you use your Wi-Fi signal for connection to the internet and then also turn on Wi-Fi calling, then it eliminates that problem. You don't have any dropouts in the calls and you're not having to pay for it either way.
Yikes. Is personal hotspot mean something?
Well, that's a device kind of like a cell phone that connects to the internet and then provides a Wi-Fi signal. And generally you use that to connect, say, a laptop to the internet. You turn the laptop's internet on, Wi-Fi signal on, you turn your cell phone's Wi-Fi signal and hotspot, and then you connect to your cell phone with your Wi-Fi from your laptop, and then you can get to the internet.
Okay.
And those were also technology is obsoleting some of that. There were times we had iPads and we never bought cellular capability for the iPad. Never is an incorrect statement, but usually we didn't buy cellular connections on the iPad. Okay, we just used a hotspot in that case because we were I was at the grocery store and we got this system between my wife and I, who've been married for 58 years. But anyway, I get sent on the errands. I get down to the grocery store and I've got this agreement with my wife, which is, okay, keep changing the grocery list. But when just before I walk in the door, I'm going to check that and pick my to-do list from the last one you sent me. And I'll stick that in notes on my iPhone and I use that. So she can give me the order for groceries 5 times. Now, I don't care. I'm going to look when I get to the grocery store door, what's my wife's last set of instructions?
Oh.
Okay. That's why it's lasted 58 years. What's my wife's last set of instructions? And I will take that and stick it in the phone.
Before we go to Pat, I think Ross might have had his hand up a few times and keeps getting bumped out. So why don't we go to Ross next? You just need to unmute, Ross.
Okay, well, I think what happens is when I speak in there, it says, okay, you must be done with your hand raised. The comment I wanted to make was that either cell phone or iPad or Android phone, you can connect an external monitor and an external keyboard to those. You cannot connect a mouse. But you can say, if I'm trying to work with pictures and or email and I want to use a keyboard, you can do that on the phone. That's not too difficult to get those to attach. And then you can use those. It's what you would use, say, at home. You bring your mouse, your phone home, plug it into those devices, and then use them in that way. And when you leave, you then go back just to the touch screen. For a mouse on either of those devices, you use the touch screen on the phone. But it's to say, you know, I don't use a desktop computer very much. I really don't need one a lot. You can then use your phone similar to a desktop computer with an external keyboard and external monitor. That's all I had to say.
And I often, when I'm setting people up with tablets, I will give them the external keyboard just because they're so much easier for typing.
So we can see if Pat still wants to speak.
Oh, yes, I solved that first problem, but now I have another. When we're talking about the dropped calls and we said to enable Wi-Fi calling, I use Wi-Fi calling and I still get dropped calls. Any other suggestions on that?
So you have the device now that will check your Wi-Fi speed. And
Oh, well, I already did that.
So if you have a good Wi-Fi connection between your phone and your Wi-Fi at your place, then you shouldn't be dropping calls.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Well, I've got the test, you know, the download, the 82 and the upload 16 and all that.
Those numbers should be reasonable enough for you to connect your cell phone to that and have Wi-Fi calling turned on in the phone.
Okay.
That's a separate that doesn't turn on automatically. There's a separate place in settings that you have to say, allow Wi-Fi calling. And then it should work just fine. If that doesn't, then I would have you talk to your cell phone provider and say, I have this set up this way. Can you tell me what I'm doing wrong or what's the issue is?
Okay. Well, I just got a new phone. I'll try this one and see if this works as worse as the other one. Maybe it's working better. Great. Thank you.
Sharon?
Dawn, two things. I think you could probably help Pat to do that. If she downloads the open signal, she can find out about how her connection is maybe. And then
I already did that and I tested, so I'm good there.
And the second part of that I have as a question is, I opened up the app, I'm using the app, and I was able to see the history because I ran it twice to see where it's stored. So I saw that. I don't know how to do the arrow part.
Well, it's simpler than it makes you think. Let's just say you're in your living room.
Right.
And the arrow comes there. If you walk around in your living room, turning your phone towards where the arrow is, it works like a compass, an old-fashioned compass when you're trying to find north. Like if you have a compass and it shows and the arrow points automatically to north, you have the ability to move yourself to get to where you're looking north, okay? And so you know that east is on the right and west is on the left and your feet are on south. So if you think of it like an old compass.
Yeah. Except my daddy didn't teach me too much about compasses. He just said, go outside and play. Okay, I got you. So it's me that'll change the arrow direction then.
That's right.
Got it. Thanks. Thank you.
a trick that we used to use to try to determine what cell phone service to pick was that usually they'll have a cell phone store close to where a tower is, because they want to have a real good signal. So when you go in and use the phone and say, "Oh, this is great there," so if you have a cell phone store next door, that would be a good service to use, because again, the strength that's there. But this program, the open signal there, will help you find where it is. Now, when you get close to the edge of the water and there's not any cell towers that you can get to the west. So you have to have everything that's to the east of you and be aware of that. For
Okay.
me, I have found that Verizon works very well at almost all of the places along the beach. And if I still have a problem, then being able to get into the customer's Wi-Fi is my solution.
Okay. And thank you, Ross. I did get the wire, and I did get the adapter, and my little computer's happy, smiling at me right now. So thank you.
Good.
And your cell phone is better too, though, because you have it connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, it's not on the Wi-Fi wired, it's on the Wi-Fi unwired, wireless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
have both working now, where before
Yep.
you said you couldn't do that.
Yep.
Good.
So it's cool. Thanks.
Sure.
Dan, you have a question you'd like to chip in on?
Yes, I want to talk about internet speeds. I am using an in-house computer to watch this show. And when I test the internet speed, it's like 8 megabits. And you people are talking a lot faster than that. I don't know. So I'm wondering whether I'm reading it wrong or.
I have one customer who uses Hawaiian Telcom, and she gets speeds similar to what you get, and then you watch their ads on TV, and supposedly they're 300 megabits, but you try to get it changed. Your best solution is to get rid of Hawaiian Telcom, but you're living a townhouse community or retirement community or something.
Yes.
Do they control your?
I've seen the speed go down to like 2 megabits, and I start having problems with the Zoom meeting because it freezes. But 8.6 right now it's running, and it appears to work fine, and everything's okay.
Ross had a suggestion a while back that he started using and I get it from T-Mobile, a 5G, get rid of this, device that will allow you to connect up to your own 5G hotspot. Okay, and if I was at 2 megabits or 8 megabits, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't live through that. That would send me to the cardiologist. I'd go. I would consider his suggestion that. Can you rephrase what I was saying there, Ross?
So for Dan, I believe that laptop, the computer, your shared computer, is probably connected by wireless, not wired.
That's correct.
Okay, so the issue is the distance, first of all, from where that computer is and where the internet modem is that they're paying for there. There are devices, TP-Link is the one that I like to use, but there are other ones that you plug a device into the wall close to that, where that modem is, runs a wire up and picks up a wired signal, and then converts that and puts the internet signal across the wiring in your facility. And then you can get up quite a bit faster, up to 200 to 300 in the range from that device to where you are there. And that will help. They're less than $100 for those devices, and that's a one-time charge, and that should really help the performance of that computer in that area. What Don Raymond is speaking of is I have a subscription now from Verizon for another box that I put up into a window, and it connects to Verizon's cellular service by the 5th generation 5G. And that one I get about 250 down and usually around 85 to 150 up. and that cost me $25 a month. But that would be something that you would have to pay for. I would, unless you got an ear for the people there at that place, they're probably not going to want to change.
No. And like I say, I'm kind of confined to what they provide. They have repeaters down the hallways, but there's probably 40 or 50 people using this wireless, and some of them may be downloading movies and things. So sometimes it slows down around 2, like I said, and I start having problems. If it gets up to 8, then everything seems to work all right.
Let's
I
share.
can see this.
But Dan, you're with the choice that Ross is using, all he does is get it near a window in his establishment. Now, if you got a room in a large apartment building and you got the apartments are providing it and they're giving you 2 megabytes, if you got a window and you got a good cell signal from T-Mobile, you can change your life drastically for $20 a month.
I only look at this thing on Saturdays for a meeting, so it doesn't really affect me. I have my own wireless, my own AT&T connection, which also shows about the same speed when it's wired to my computer. So that's why I'm asking this question about, am I reading the speed wrong or what's going on here?
Probably not, especially if you have that open signal for a similar application, or just run the Google speed test on there and it'll tell you what the speed is. Now, if this computer that you have is on the floor, if you can put it up on top of the desk, that usually will help the Wi-Fi signal and make it go better. But you should be able to test that with if you have a phone that you can put the open signal program on, and then just kind of walk around and say, over here I get 60, over here I get 4. So that would be, again, the Wi-Fi signal that's there. But yeah, if it's all shared by the bunch of people that are there, and now people are using the internet more and more and more, and again, most places do not want to have to pay more for an internet signal that's shared. They want to keep their expenses the same.
Yes, but what my other question was, I have my own computer and my own Wi-Fi on my own internet connection, and it's a wired connection, and I'm getting about the same report there. And the computer is sitting right in front of the modem with about a 6-foot cable on it. So
that would be to me that you should need, if that's AT&T, you call and talk to AT&T and tell them, run the speed test for that for you. They can test it from their side and see what it is you are getting. And if it's less than what you're paying for, then you call the billing department and say, I want my money back for today. I'm only getting 2 megabit and I'm paying for 30. Now it's dollars per day difference as far as how much money you're going to get returned. But the people within AT&T, all the companies, get in trouble with their managers when they have to give money back. And that's the only thing that seems to get their attention sometimes, to get out there and try to improve that performance. That's still using the old 2 wires that come through the ground, and they're from AT&T, that's been there for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And those wires are starting to get worse and worse. Everybody wants to go to wireless or fiber, but that takes a big investment from the internet provider's side to get you to a fiber connection.
yes, well, it doesn't really affect me a lot because I don't watch a lot of movies. So, email and that kind of stuff is no effect on the speed. So.
But if you're paying AT&T for a speed and you're not getting that, then you're not getting what you're paying for, sir.
I understand. I'll have to research that and go back to AT&T and see what I'm paying for. I don't know.
I had a customer whose name's Hank, who's in San Diego. I'm not San Diego, San Antonio. Okay. And he'd had good success for decades, and all of a sudden things just weren't working because they were so slow. And after doing some testing on his machine, I finally decided that it has to be at the service provider. Okay, and so we ran a bunch of speed test stuff and the numbers were off the chart low. And so he called, I had him call the Spectrum or whatever, Cox or whatever it was in his area. And once they saw that on his machine, they said, well, we got to send somebody out there. And so they did. And, you know, he went from like the speeds you're talking about to, you know, several times faster than that. And it made, if he couldn't use his machine, the speed would slow it down. So maybe the provider doesn't even know that they're that slow.
A lot of times AT&T or any of the providers these days, if you haven't had a new modem in say 2 to 3 years, they will ship you a new modem that they will help you over the phone to get connected. And it's relatively straightforward. And that's the first thing they want to try. They really don't want to have to send a truck out. That's very expensive for them, and they'll do all they can do to not have to send a truck out. But that maybe, you know, that's the first step, is that if it's been there 2 or 3 years and that you haven't replaced that modem, then that would be probably the first thing that they suggest.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I'm wondering if I can change the subject matter for a few moments. And specifically, if any one of you have dealt with replacing Mint with another, you know, website app that tracks income, expenses, gives you the whole shebang like Mint did. And Credit Karma is terrible, which is their preferred movement out of Mint. So one website that I read about that I haven't tried yet is called Yodlee, Yodlee. And I was wondering if anybody can comment on that.
I
did
think,
not understand what the program or what the service does.
Stan,
downloads-
let me explain. She's looking for an alternative to Mint, which is like a Quicken kind of program, if that helps you. Okay, and I think this question's been asked in the past, and I don't know if there was an answer.
Okay, thank you.
I would Google that and look for reviews for Mint or Mint equivalent or replacement, and see if you can come up with 2 or 3 reviewers within the last year or so that have reviewed other products, or that one that says you need to have version 12 versus version 11 that you might have now, or move to this other service that might be better. We're in it. It's a really touchy area as far as accounting programs for business and for personal. For business, QuickBooks is still the standard that's out there that most businesses use, but they're forcing us on QuickBooks to go to a $500 plus per year subscription. And if you don't keep your subscription alive, they lock your data file into it. So we're really not happy about that, but we don't have another program to go to. Same with Quicken. Quicken has usually been the default program to use. And you may find in your reviews that say here, you might look for Quicken equivalents or Quicken replacement programs and see if there's anything that's out there. I would prefer not to go to something that hasn't been out for a couple years and has the bugs worked out and has a big enough customer base that they're not going to disappear in a month or two after you spend the time to get used to how to use that and import your information in.
May I leap in here for a minute? I use Quicken every day and in many, many, many ways. I have several reasons to have several checking accounts, and I need to keep track of the money that is spent in each of those checking accounts for when I do my income tax. And I find Quicken indispensable. I have looked for an alternative just in case Quicken suddenly dies, and I have not found anything that comes anywhere close.
Do you pay for your subscription to Quicken?
Did I what?
Do you pay to use Quicken?
Yes, I pay to use Quicken.
Do you know how much?
No.
Thank you.
It's one of those things that's kind of a pay me now, pay me later kind of things. And if you have a tax advisor or an accountant, that's a good place to start and say, what do you recommend that I use? But I don't think you're going to go too far wrong as far as accounting with going to Quicken. But again, you have to keep the subscriptions up. All the companies are becoming much more subscription based. And if you don't keep your subscription up, then they terminate the program. And they're all increasing what they want to charge per month for your internet, for Prime Video, for all the services out there. They're trying real hard to increase the amount of revenue that they get from you.
If I could go back a couple of things that came up earlier, as far as what Dan was talking about in speeds, as Ross said, he's probably reading accurately what the speed is if it's around 8 megabits per second coming down. Zoom, I just want to mention Zoom requires about 2 to 3 megabits per second. It's amazingly small, for particularly with gallery view and all that stuff. So it doesn't take a lot. So your experience is accurate because, as you said, when you're around 8, you're doing fine in Zoom, and when it's getting around 2, you're not. The other thing I just wanted to comment, again, unrelated to that, I think that Marty brought up, somebody brought up, having to do with using your cell phone away from home. As Ross said, it's great if you have your home and you got your Wi-Fi on and you're making your calls through it, particularly if you have limited data, which Marty doesn't. She's got unlimited, but for those who have limited data plans, there's a setting on the phone, at least on mine, I'm sure everybody's, where you can turn off cell data. But I want to emphasize this, just for the data, you're still going to get phone calls, even if you turn that off, if you want to limit when you're out and about, that you're not using up data on your data phone.
And Quicken cost, I just Googled it, and it's somewhere between $60 and $80, depending upon what variety of Quicken you use.
Per year.
Yes.
Thank you. So I had downloaded a version of Quicken several years ago on my laptop. And so it was paid for and all of that. So my question to you is, if I just stick to the Quicken on my laptop, does it mean that I will not be able to see any Quicken data on my cell phone?
I've never been experienced using Quicken on a cell phone.
Okay.
You're talking, well, I shouldn't say that. What you're talking about is you're talking about using an online service. QuickBooks has an online service. I don't know that Quicken has an online service.
Okay, thank you.
No, I think Quicken is strictly in your computer. It's a program in your computer, and it's a file in your computer. I send my daughter a copy of my Quicken file every Wednesday, so she can keep, if I drop dead suddenly, she can keep the money moving.
And just to clarify, when Elizabeth's original question about Mint was an online service, so she could get to it from her phone if she wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah, especially when I'm traveling and I want to see the transaction taking place, check that everything is okay. So that's my goal.
Stan?
Thank you. I'm concerned about the comment that even Quicken, if they choose, now, as just to reinforce, my Quicken files are on my computer, but I require the Quicken program to access those. If I should do away with my paid version, I have the Quicken Pro, Quicken something or other, Classic. Anyway, I'm paying for it. Could Quicken, if I do away with that paid version, could Quicken disable the Quicken program so that I couldn't access my data?
I don't know that, I have never heard about that on Quicken. QuickBooks is where the issue is. And what they want you to do is transfer that data file for them to back up for you and protect you by putting it in the cloud. But again, if your subscription lapses, they lock access to that information online. So you have to be careful, but I have not heard that with Quicken. Now, it used to be all under one company. Quicken and QuickBooks were one company. Quicken now is been sold off to a limited partnership. So it's a completely different organization than what it used to be. And it was really bad about 4 or 5 years ago in the transition. But from what I understand, it's straightened out quite a bit and it's much easier to use and get support than what it used to be on Quicken.
Yeah, I'm currently using it as Hank, of course. And I recommend it largely because their technical support is very good. And I suppose that goes along with having a paid version, but you can get technical support to really help you. And they will share their screen so that you have control, but they will direct you how to do what you're trying to accomplish,
right,
which I find very valuable.
Right.
It seems to me that I used to have a copy of Quicken, the program, which was good forever, and I didn't have to pay to renew it. And that changed a couple of years ago.
We call that the good old days.
I upgraded from one computer to another and did not need any of the newer versions of the application. And Intuit was the one program where I could not I said, I need to reinstall it onto the new computer. And said, well, we don't allow that. So there was no way for me to move the old program to the new computer and get it authenticated and get it working. I had to buy the new program. At that point, it used to be that you could run to Costco and pick it up for $150 or less. That's not the case anymore. You cannot buy it at Costco. You can only buy it QuickBooks anyway through Intuit itself. You cannot get it online anywhere.
But that comment referred to QuickBooks, not Quicken.
Correct.
Thank you.
Pat?
Well, two things. Oh, first of all, regarding the Quicken, I've asked this before and Ross has already answered. And basically, I don't use Quicken to pay my bills because I'm on auto pay for most everything. So I don't really need it, but I use it as a checking account. So that's basically what I would be looking for. But I have the same problem that Ross was just mentioning. I need a new computer and I don't think I can transfer my Quicken that I don't pay for, the old one from 2017 or something or other. So I think that's correct. Does anybody know if that's my first question. Is that correct? I can't transfer the old Quicken to my new computer.
So Apple to Apple, the program that they give you works very well, but that should be a question that you can talk to Apple support about and say, I have a Mac and it has Quicken version X, and can I move that to my new computer? You might get an answer saying, we don't support Apple, the Quicken product in that manner. It may work, it may not, is what I'm guessing that you're going to have to see. So I would say you may have to look to or plan on having to replace the program in the new computer. And then whatever, go by whatever basis they have the new one. I'm still using my old QuickBooks 2019, and it has not been turned off. Even though I've moved to my new computer, I was able to get it to work. So you can move from one computer to the other, but it's also very dependent upon that application itself, whether it's going to work or not. You might Google for that and say that, you know, I have not had a customer that we've done that with to say the Quicken was working on the old Mac and now it still works on the new Mac. I haven't done that, but I would imagine if you Google for that, you should be able to find it.
Okay. Usually even when I'm at the Apple store, they say it's a third party and they don't want to deal with it. But my second question has to do with traveling, and it's maybe a little off topic, but does I have Verizon and I'm not totally happy with Verizon when I'm traveling. Does anybody have anything else that they use? It seemed like most of the people that I've traveled with that didn't have any issues, especially with data, I have been T-Mobile. So I was wondering if anybody uses T-Mobile and have traveled with it and what do they think about it?
It all depends on where you're traveling and where the antennas are. So it's a luck of the draw. You can say, I'm going to travel to Madrid. You know, what's a good cell phone provider, a data provider for Madrid? It used to be that AT&T was what you wanted to use when you went to Europe. And then what you could do is you would just sign up for a short time with a SIM card from AT&T, and you use that in that phone to get your service that you need to have while you're in that particular European location. But to say this is going to work for you when you're going to this location, again, it's dependent upon that location. And again, if you can get to Wi-Fi connection, like on a cruise ship or in a hotel, then the cell phone service itself is not an issue for getting to the internet. And you can, again, turn Wi-Fi calling on and you'll receive and send calls no matter what service you're paying for through Wi-Fi.
Are we in Q&A?
I think so. So we can thank Don for his presentation today and then transition to Q&A.
Thank you.
Here, here. Thank you, Don.
You're welcome. I appreciate that.
And when you think of something else that you're willing to talk about for an hour or so, send me an email, please.
Okay, I'd be glad to do that, and I've already got several. Thank you.
Great. Okay, any cues? Sure is quiet around here.
I don't know if Stan was trying to get his hand up.
Stanley.
Yes. Next week is the board meeting, and I am proposing that I host that using a different version of Zoom, mainly to determine whether the board wishes to continue to use that for the board meeting. It is basically the same version of Zoom that AppSug is providing, but it is configured in such a way that more tools are available. One of the items on the agenda is to vote on whether we would continue to do that on the first Friday. The other thing I just want to mention is that I did vote. I have my little I voted badge, and I sent my ballot in the mail by the postman picking it up from my mailbox yesterday, and this morning at 8 a.m. I got a confirmation that my ballot had been accepted. That gives me great confidence in the ability of the Postal Service to deliver the ballot to the county voting place. So anyway, I encourage you all to vote.
Any other subjects for Q&A? Anyone have any great triumphs where something that they didn't think was going to worked really well? We'd love to hear those. Hi, Ross.
So to build on what Stan just talked about, we're getting lots of problems of mail being stolen out of mail boxes. You got yours to the mailman, and that was great because it went. You can take your mail to the post office, but if you do, you have to take it inside and put it into a slot inside. There have been many, many cases where people at night put a stick down inside of the mailbox that has something sticky on the end of it, and they're pulling mail out, stealing checks, washing them, reusing them in a lot of manners. So mailing checks physically is a really bad thing. You need to use the bank's service to send an automatic payment. Then it's again, it hasn't sat in a mailbox usually before it's been gone out to the mail distribution. One of the guys that I work for used the mail drop at his office, and they broke into that and stole all the outgoing mail. And then there were checks in there. He had a special check made by Intuit that's supposed to be very tamper resistant. But the bad guys were able to take that check and wash the information off of it. And they took it for being $120 and made it for $400. And then were able to cash it. So it's just mailing checks is a really bad thing at this point.
And I just wanted to add that as far as the ballots go, there are many drop-off locations at libraries in particular. That's where I put mine. It looks fairly secure. It's a very thin slot. I don't think you can get stuff out of it.
Good.
So, and I got the confirmation email like Stan did.
Right.
And I just wanted to say, as of this morning, the drop-off in-person ones are available at most of the locations. And I went up there this morning, and we handed ours to a couple people that were holding a bag with a slot in it. So
Yeah. I just dropped mine off at the post office. Worked well. But I don't mail anything unless I go to the post office these days. We had a whole mail box just stolen. It was kids and the pranks and all that stuff. So after that, I might mail something an hour before I think they're going to pick up, but otherwise I don't use the mailbox.
Sharon?
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of difficulty with the voting because I know so few of those people that are in there, and I don't know how to find out any information about them. So there's my dilemma, and it's also very discouraging because, part of me wants to vote. Part of me says, I don't know these people. How can I vote? So just wanted to share that.
The voter pamphlet does have a lot of candidate statements in it and information about propositions or ballot measures. And there are websites that you can go to get additional information.
Can you mention those websites? Saul?
APBS has one on their site for
Okay.
voter information. I think
Okay.
usually League of Women's Voters and various other ones have information.
I must admit, I share Sharon's concern. And for the first time, I left a lot of votes blank, none of the above. I did not feel so obligated to research which one out of 25 people would make the best crook for a particular position. And so I just declined to worry about it and voted for those things that I feel that I did have a preference for.
And
That's
Willie,
the first time I've ever done that.
Willie posted in the chat ballot Media or something like that anyway, or Pedia. So you can check that out, Sharon.
I am. I'm putting down my notes right now.
Yeah, the Union Tribune also does a big editorial on people one by one, and it tells more about what's going on, the pros and cons of each one. But it comes out whenever. I think you could probably go to their website and you'd have much more, I don't know on their website if they go into as much detail as they do in their editorials, but you could check it out. That's how I picked who I was going to vote for.
Thank you.
That's what I was going to try to do, but I hadn't seen an overall summary of the UT's position by yesterday is when I mailed it. So they had mentioned a few positions, and I went with their recommendation.
I think our cues have diverted away from computer issues. Elizabeth?
Yes, I did drop my ballot at the mailbox in front of the Tierra Center Library, and I didn't get any feedback of any type. And my question is, what does it take to get a feedback from somewhere?
I think you have to sign up for that.
Yes, on the instruction that came with it, there's how to go to a website and sign up to be notified when your ballot has been received.
Okay.
And I went there before I mailed my ballot, and it was very easy, and it established that they had mailed the ballot to me, but had not received one in, so I knew nobody had used my ballot to vote. And then as soon as I did vote, I got it. But you have to sign up for it, and the information
I
is
don't
in
have
the.
that. I threw everything out.
I believe it's the Registrar of Voters, which is SDVote. I'm not sure if it's.
ORG?
I don't know if it's org or not, but
or .gov, huh?
yeah. Well, I don't think it's
.com.
gov. Yeah, it might even be .com. Yes, thank you, Stan.
SDVote.com.
Yeah,
great.
which
Thanks.
is the San Diego County Registrar of Voters website.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Elizabeth?
I think she's finished.
I know a few weeks ago we were discussing VPN, and then I started researching every single VPN on my cell phone, and I cannot read any reviews that are recent reviews that are very positive. And so my question is, which is your preferred VPN if you're going to be traveling? I guess no suggestion, right?
I'm
Maybe
just waiting to see if Ross has an opinion.
Okay, thank you.
So I use private VPN. I looked for reviews as to which one they felt was better in the reviews, and private VPN is one that after reviewing, I paid for. I think it costs in the range of, I pay for $30 a year, I think it is, and it renews automatically through my PayPal. I think if you stay away from most of the countries that you're going to go to, you don't have to use a VPN to get to the internet. If you go to mainland China or to Hong Kong at this time, I think, yes, you have to use a VPN, or Russia. But other than that, most of the places will let you get straight to the internet. But you can Google for that to say, I'm going to country X. Do I need a VPN?
I see. Okay, thank you.
Well, Verizon, I think, has a VPN that you can access too. I haven't checked it out, but they keep texting me about it.
Well, it's a minute before noon in San Diego, and I think it's about time to sign off until next week's board meeting. I want to for those of you who click to join this meeting, the place you click will be different next week. If you want to join the meeting, if you click the old click, you will not end up anywhere.
So, okay.
I will get an invitation message out this coming Thursday with all of Stan's information in it about how to join his meeting.
All right.
See you next week, maybe.
Okay, well, are you saying, Hank, that this, because I just joined off of the Zoom thing. So are you saying we no longer can join off of the Zoom app? Or does it have another?
You get the invitation that Hank sends you, do you not?
Yeah, but I don't quite.
Okay. I encourage you to use the link that is provided by Hank's invitation. Any other link will take you to the wrong place. It will be good on the following weeks. It's just not good for the first Friday of March.
Second Saturday.
Right.
Second Saturday, I'm sorry.
So
My apologies.
Okay.
Second Saturday of
And
March.
I've never had good luck.
I have suggested to Stan that we don't do this because of people like Pat who keep clicking on the same old thing.
No, I don't.
All right.
But he has.
May I address that issue?
He has prevailed. No, please don't address it, Stanley. I'm going to do what you asked. And I'm telling people now, if you want to get to next week's meeting, read your email and do what it says in there, the one that comes to you next Thursday. Thank you all. I'll see you next week, I hope.